friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're talking about this newest palette from Too Faced. This is the Italian Spritz palette. This is currently available. It's been out for a while now. I purchased mine from Ulta. I've been wearing this and swatching it quite a bit. I'm going to have a few eye looks for you, and actually in today's review video, I'm going to use every single eyeshadow in this palette because each of the three looks I'm going to show you has all of the shadows from one of the three rows of shadows in this palette. That means I've got a lot of thoughts, a lot of info, a lot of eye looks to show you. First, let's just start with some basic info and a close-up look at this palette and its packaging. This palette is retail priced at $54 US, and it does have 18 shades. The box and the front cover of the palette are the exact same art. Where you are going to see the packaging differences is on the back. So if you flip to the back of the box, you'll see a little picture with the shades that are inside the palette, and the palette itself does not have that picture. Now, I'm not sure if this is an Ulta exclusive or not. Typically on the website, they'll say Ulta exclusive, and it didn't say that on the listing when I purchased this on the Ulta site, but this has not popped up at Sephora, so it's giving me the vibes of an Ulta exclusive. You can find it on the Too Faced site as well. I don't know if it's going to roll out to other retailers, but for now, it's just on the Too Faced site and at Ulta. This is in the beloved old school tin packaging. They went to a cardboard style for these long rectangular palettes for a while, and it seems like that was universally not loved as far as a packaging change-up goes. So I'm very excited to see this old school format back. With the change in packaging, we also saw a downgrade in the formula, in my opinion. So it seems like they went back to basics, back to the OG packaging, back to the OG formulas. And in fact, I think this may be better than ever formula-wise. I like the way this is laid out. It seems like each row or each column could be grouped together for a look, or you can even take like 6 that are next to each other and make a little mini palette. It seems very intentionally laid out in this way. Maybe I'm just looking for something that's not there. But at first glance, I do think that it seems like the shades are kind of random, but when you break it down into these smaller groups, it makes a lot of sense to me that you could see a 9 pan or a 6 pan or a quad or a little trio just by breaking up this palette into its different sections. I really like to use palettes that way to kind of get me out of my regular shades that I always use over and over again. But I do think that it really works particularly well for this Italian Spritz palette. Now that you've seen the Italian Spritz palette close up, let's take a look at some swatches. I want to show you both finger and brush swatches of all the shadows in this palette, and then we'll get to the tutorials. As usual, finger swatches on top and then brush swatches directly below. No primer, dry brush, just using my e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush as I typically do for my brush swatches. And I have to say, these shadows are incredibly consistent formula-wise. The mattes and the shimmers perform really well, not just across different application methods, but across this entire palette. I am very, very pleased with the performance, with the wear time, with the pigmentation. These are really, really doing it for me. I like the bright metallic nature of the shimmers. I like the mattes are smooth and buttery, but not so soft and powdery that they feel like they're falling apart. I like how this palette seems to have sort of two personalities. The first round of swatches is really soft and pinky and springy, and then the second half of the palette is a lot more rich and jewel toned and colorful. There are just 100 different looks that I can see myself doing with this palette. I feel very inspired by these colors, and at first I thought, it looks a little bit random, but the more that I paired these colors together and actually wore them, the more and more and more sense it started to make to me. Okay, now that you've seen the swatches, let's get into some eye looks. I have a lot of tutorials to show you, and I'm gonna give you all my thoughts along the way. Let's just start at the beginning. I'm not going to really narrate my tutorials because I want to take these next few minutes to give you my full thoughts on this palette beginning to end. I've been wearing this palette both on and off camera for almost 2 weeks now, and I have to say I really, really, really love it. Probably not a surprise, but let's just start with the packaging. Thrilled to see that old school tin packaging coming back. Not only does it make me feel nostalgic for, the Too Faced palettes of yore, way back in the heyday of the chocolate bar palettes and the sweet peach palette. It also just felt like a good omen. Okay, maybe Too Faced is listening after a lot of folks were upset that their fall release palette, their little pumpkin spicy type of palette that they do every year pre-holiday, was in cardboard packaging, and people were very upset, myself included, to see that the tin packaging was gone. I think it feels like a good omen that they seem to have listened to that. And it also seems like a good omen fulfilled here, that the improvement would also be visible in the actual formulas of the shadows. All of that rings true. The actual design, I can kind of take it or leave it. I don't really love it. I don't hate it. I mean, it fits the theme of the palette, but it's just sort of whatever for me. It's not as cute as I personally would love. I like the really super cutesy, kawaii, Too-Faced designs. I know not everybody likes that. A lot of people think it's childish. That's fine too. We all have our different tastes. Personally, I'm here for the kitsch. I'm here for the camp. I'm here for the cartoons. It's fine. I'm 37 and I will find joy wherever I find joy. I encourage you to do the same. So happy to see the tin packaging. Not crazy about the actual imagery, but it is what it is. Now we have to talk about another very important aspect of pretty much all Too Faced palettes, and that's fragrance. This palette is fragranced. Now, according to the Too Faced description, it says that it is scented like an effervescent citrus cocktail. Now, I do detect a bit of a scent. I would say it's like a fruity floral scent, but it is very, very, very light. It is not like that open the palette and the wave of fragrance just hits you in the face type of fragrancing that we've seen on some Too Faced palettes. Their peach palettes have been very, very boldly fragranced, in my opinion. And this one, I really have to stick my nose into the palette to detect much of a scent. Maybe if you're incredibly sensitive to perfumes and fragrances, you might be able to pick up on it a little bit more easily than I do. But I honestly went and looked on the website to see if it was even scented, because I wasn't sure if it was actually supposed to be fragranced until I looked up the info, because it's so delicate, the fragrance, and I just wasn't sure if I was imagining things, if I was projecting because I expected it to be fragranced. So I did want to make sure that I touched on that. I know a lot of folks are sensitive to different fragrances, or some people just don't like scented makeup. So just so you know, it is scented, but it is very, very, very lightly scented. Now, we've talked about packaging, we've talked about fragrance. Let's talk about the shadows themselves. First of all, color story, love it. At first, I thought, okay, it's too much peachy neutral, it's too scattered. But the more that I broke down the palette into sections, the more that I actually swatched these colors together and wore them on the eye together, the more I understood where I was going style-wise with this palette, and I really, really like it. I love the balance of those soft, springy, peachy tones with some really gorgeous, rich jewel tones. I love a jewel tone. I love a mustard yellow. I am really here for this whole color story, And it's especially been nice to play with this because it has virtually no overlap with my Flora Story palette, and I have been wearing that palette for months almost exclusively. So I think typically I would say I wish that Italian Spritz had some more fresh greens or some more purples, but I'm not really missing that in my collection right now, and I just really like what this is adding to my current eyeshadow wardrobe. I realize this is incredibly anecdotal because it's just my personal experience with this palette, but I really like the colors. I've already talked about how great the performance is. These blend beautifully. They wear so nicely for hours and hours and hours. Personally, I do prefer the metallics when they're applied with my finger versus a brush, but that's pretty much always the case for me. The metallics are super bright, very buttery and even on the eyelid. The mattes blend like a dream. I mean, look at this red and yellow blend together. It didn't take a lot of work. It doesn't feel muddied up. It feels very bright still on the lid, even after several hours of wear time. So beginning to end, I'm really, really impressed with the shadows in here. I like the bold colors mixed with those soft springy tones. I like the performance of both the mattes and the shimmers. I get it. I just feel like it's clicking for me, vibing for me. I think this is a great release, one of the best Too Faced releases in the past several years. Now's the time when I want to hear what you think about this palette. Have you picked this one up yet? Are you as excited by this as I am? Are you on the opposite end? You're not interested at all? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! This is music to my ears. The tin packaging is back. So happy. I'm fine. I did get a little carried away finishing this eye look. Once I added eyeliner, I felt like I needed lashes. It was very much a if you give a mouse a cookie type of situation, except it was if you give a mouse some eyeliner. So, you know, it's out of the box for me, but it's always fun to just try something new. And I think it looks good. It looks really cute. I did it. Nailed it. Do you ever have that where like your face itches but you're wearing makeup so you don't want to scratch it because you don't want to mess up your makeup? That's where I'm at. I've got this like really itchy spot right here. Just try not to think about it. I'm not doing well. I love that this eyeshadow looks pretty neutral from far away, but up close it's like, boom, purple. Just a little pizzazz. And it kind of matches my nails. You know I love eyeshadow and nails matching. Look at that. Oh. Yeah, look at that matching nail game. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, focus. What happened? Oh no. Dang it. Just everybody act natural. Just pretend that that didn't happen. It's fine. Everybody just act natural. It's fine. See? It's totally fine. Just shoot from this side now. Okay. I somehow injured my hand. I don't know how I did that, but it's a day in the life. I don't remember it. I mean, it looks like it would have hurt, but I don't remember it happening, so I guess it's fine. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I'm glad you're here. I'm always happy to have you around here, and I hope that these tutorials were fun for you. And yeah, let me know what other videos you're interested in. What do you want to see reviewed? What do you want to see swatched? What kind of looks do you want to see? I love to hear about that. Thanks for always having such good recommendations. You're the best. You're the best, the cutest, the smartest, and the shiniest little jewel in the treasure box. And I love your face. Okay, bye-bye.